Hey, we're talking about Jurassic Ken again. I know. Very exciting new topic, but I have an explanation to have to share with you here. So if I can go to monitor capture here, Jurassic Ken, when he first released, buffed about 50% of the heroes. Of about the 18 or so abilities that we tested, he worked on almost exactly half of them. And to catch everybody up on who he is and what he does, Jurassic Ken buffs all abilities by 20% so long as your shield is depleted. That's essentially Blast from the Past. And in the lead, he buffs by 60%, which is kind of a pointless thing in my opinion, because he's the only commander that can ever use his commander perk. But either way, he can buff all abilities. Well, that's what he's supposed to do. And then I went through and tested it. For reference, this is the test build we did. So a little bit of science behind this. We changed the commander based on whatever abilities we had to test, had it active with Saurian Hide and Focus so that we didn't get any more damage, and we used Fleet just because he makes you move faster, he doesn't impact anything. And if you compare Fleetfoot Ken to Jurassic Ken, all of their stats are exactly identical, so there shouldn't be any overlap there. I have a lot of gameplay for all of these abilities right here. I don't know how I could possibly show all of them. Maybe I can do a couple of side-by-side. Like Smoke Bomb, super clear to show you that he works on that ability. If my gameplay is ever a pink background camera, that's just the regular game mode. And then if I have a blue background behind my face, that's Ken being active. So that was a nice little color coding for the gameplay. That made editing this very, very easy. Dragon Slash was a little tricky, but it did do more damage, and every single ability on here is all the same. I could even show the minigun because I had to jump back in and re-record it. Without Ken, it did like 11,000 if I remember correctly, and then with Ken, it did like 16 or something. The gameplay will show if I'm wrong, but it's an improvement. And the problem with this was I was going to make a video on great loadouts for Ken, but that is where things get tricky. I'm happy to report that he does work on every single ability. A couple of things are like Warcry damage, where I don't know why that would work. It makes sense because Warcry on its own doesn't do any damage. It just makes you do more damage. So if he buffed that, that'd be a really nice thing to have. I would throw him in support every time I ran Warcry, because 20% on top of what Warcry is already doing would be super fun. Bull Rush, I couldn't tell, but I don't think it matters. The game, I could never see my own damage, so it was really hard to test that. But Bull Rush isn't ever really used for damage, so it didn't matter. And then Goin Constructor, it just doesn't work. That's the only one where I feel like it should function, but doesn't. And then Adrenaline Rush and drones are sort of a byproduct from the last video, where they are technically listed as abilities, but it makes sense that they wouldn't work. But what I was going to say is I wanted to make a video on loadouts, and that's tricky because going through all of the abilities in the game, the only two that I can really see him making sense on is, one, a Dragon Slash loadout, because with Blast in the Past, a Dragon Scorch, well, any Dragon Slash hero, really only has about a 10-second cooldown, which is opposed to the 6-second cooldown that you get from Happy Holidays. So it's really not too much to give up, and doing 20% more with not only Dragon Slash, but Throwing Stars and Smoke Bomb as well, which are all very good abilities. You can see I even supercharged Dragon Scorch here. That was not bad at all. I really stand by that being a good addition to the perk. So if you're ever running Dragon Slash, in fact, I didn't have to prep this. I already had this build for Hit the Road. If you're still running Hit the Road, this is a good recommended loadout. Saurian Fight works great in that. And the only other ability was like the Grenade loadout, which I don't even have prepped because it's not really something I super recommend, but if you're running Blast in the Past, back in the day is what we did, he'll do an extra 20%, but it's not super powerful. So Ken is a really good ability for any time you ever find yourself using Blast in the Past and you want to do more ability damage, which is sort of a, I don't know the exact name for it, but it's more of a cop-out kind of thing, I guess you could call it, because if you're ever running an ability loadout, 9 out of 10 times you're going to be running a Happy Holidays build because you want to reduce the cooldown of those abilities. And, 20% more damage isn't going to matter if you don't have the ability active. So it's kind of a tricky thing to work with. Now, I will add that almost every single hero is under revision right now. Hero updates are going to be coming out, so maybe he'll be a lot more useful in the future, but unfortunately for now, there is only one good loadout that I could find with Ken. But I did all this work over 2 hours testing every single ability in the game to make sure he works, and I'm not going to let that math go to waste. It wasn't math, it was more of just, yup, works. Anytime I saw the gameplay was more damage with Ken, I just gave it a thumbs up and moved on. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have anything else to give with Jurassic Ken. This is why I never covered it in the future. Huge shout outs to Cam in Discord, who basically gave me all of the information I shared with you today, but I wanted to double check it, and I did it on stream. Everybody who kept me company, super appreciated, super fun. Had a good time. Got a hype train going twice even. Super cool. Got to hang out and chat. And that made testing this a lot less brutal than it had to be, but yeah, hopefully in the future he's a lot more useful, but for now, I do recommend him as a hero you should grab. He's definitely nice to have in your arsenal because while he's not exactly the most obvious hero to use, I can't even give you a ton of examples. There have been more than one time in the past, more than 2 times in the past, where I was like, gosh, what are we missing here? What would be the missing piece? Jurassic Ken. So sometimes he's good to use and sometimes he's not. So if you guys want to support the channel, feel free to use code Mista. I'm going to put it on the screen because I'm using Archer's code. If you guys want to support me, there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video on hopefully a more relevant thing than Ken, maybe. Yeah? I don't know. See you then. And then